Good evening, everybody. System Chalk here with the 94th episode of our first YouTube run through the House of Light expansion to Book of Hours, playing as the Archaeologist, and halfway through the day and the various skills that we're going to be leveling up. So, we are already working on leveling up Inks of Revelation. We've got the two skills that we need to do our first level up for Edict's Liminal. We will eventually be leveling that up to level 6, but that'll probably be the next day. I do need to figure out what I want to do with my Tryst and my metal at the end of the day. It may be an idea for me to go to Crowcross Sands, and then as far as the metal is concerned, maybe I should make good on drawing up so much water, and perhaps try to make another Iotic Essence, or maybe even an Orpiment Exultant. But one way or the other, I have a little bit of a surplus to deal with if we don't get lucky with some of the memories that Denzel will give us. But before we do anything, let's read the books that we have, and then we can decide on next steps. The Other Eye of the Serpent, in which the Hisiarch Signifer attempts to resolve certain mysteries of lightning. Signifer considers lightning to be the division, the connection, the joined serpent, the joined serpent. The serpent's eye is said to be the sun, but as the division and connection, it must have a second eye. Signifer considers and rejects 3 times the hypothesis that the moon is the serpent's other eye, insisting that it and the sun do not share a nature. This, as much as the serpent business, is what got him burnt by the church. He proposes that the serpent's teeth are towers, that the serpent's mouth is a gate, that the serpent is the devourer of Ys, and therefore that the serpent's other eye is amber. And To a Pale Lady, a collection of Franklin Bancroft's letters to Ava de Wolf. There's a substantial body of erotic pleading and half-finished poetry, but also learned discursions on matters of mythical and marine, as well as notes towards a comic opera on which Franklin and Ava were apparently collaborating. Do not return, O my light, to the sea. None of us can be what we were, that is history's curse. None of us know what we may be, that is history's gift. Your mothers and the mothers of your mothers are caught in eternity's jaws like a robe hem in a trap. It is the pearl that shines, but the tide that returns. All right. So that's what we need for Edict's Liminal. This is also pretty encouraging in terms of our ability to level. So when I get this to level, excuse me, when I get this to level 5, I am going to need to think about how I make it to level 6. Now, one option I have is a foggy day. I don't think that's going to happen in summer. The other possibility is I can use the occult scrap, although that obviously involves giving up something that's not easy for me to restore. And then the final option would be for me to generate a name day riddle, which I think is going to be the more likely of those options. But as far as Edict's Liminal is concerned, right now, 2 of the 4 are ones that can't be replaced by whatever Denzel gives me, or whatever individual I choose to level things up with. Oriflammes, thanks you for your custom. Okay, so Deaths of the Moon, that'll go with the Killisimi. Actually, I don't think I'm going to have room for that. So let's switch it up. For heaven's sake. Okay. So let's out of just sheer morbid curiosity, I don't have the foresight anymore, which is a shame. Oh, that is a real shame, because now I can't see what the 15 would get me. But I bet I can fix that. Yeah. Okay. So it definitely doesn't get me Orpiment Exultant. So... Now this I would need to use the honey scar tea for because I don't have the memory yet. I keep thinking the Armagnac teas has forge, which it clearly doesn't. I definitely only used 1 cup of the honey scar tea. Here it is. Cool. So here's what I'm thinking about that. Probably only going to be able to do it with 1. So I will take Ambrose's desk and I'll generate a foresight. Speaking of overwriting stolen secrets, I'll probably use the Tryst at Crowcross Sands or to make an ink. I'll probably actually make the ink now that I think of it. But I'd like to make sure that my current plans are safe. Alright, skill is now level 5. Its power aspects have also increased. We can actually commit this to the Tree of Wisdom. I think we'll actually do that right now. So, the Inks of Revelation, the inks in which the histories are revealed. Truths that will be. The inks called Incastum Terminale are permitted only to the librarians of the Watchman's Tree. Those inks can be used to reveal truths, even truths too great for daylight. Perhaps then daylight is not bright enough. Perhaps we must find a way to kindle a light bright enough to reveal those greater truths. This would be a matter for Ithistry. So this does sort of throw things into a little bit of chaos here, just because I've got this extra Faust, but I don't really know what I'm going to level up with it. But that's fine. I mean, we're restoring the shaft, so we're going to want to use that to make money. So I wasn't thinking of doing this, but if I take the Inks of Revelation and I add the Faust, so it wants glass, but I don't have a high-powered lantern. Okay, I'm going to see what Denzel gives me, but before I do that, let's take Edict's Liminal. Alright, so satisfying to have come so far. So yeah, still not sure what I'm going to do with these memories here. I don't think I see much value in restoring the Curious Hunch unless I need the knock right out. I need the knock outright, and at that point I'll just generate it like I do for the other ones. I mean, the scale's not bad, I just don't have a memory to work with it. I am going to need to make some decisions in terms of what I want to make, though. So this is the 1-minute warning. Good news is, once we get the memories, I have a pretty good idea about how it's all going to turn out. The Geminiad, Volume 1, a fragile manuscript illuminated with twin shapes of sad and luminous beauty, and with all the phases of the moon. It might be as old as the 7th century, but the language Fusine is much older. The cover is tooled goatskin decorated with garnet. These pages outline the nature and the doctrines of an hour that weaves together the willing, an hour that is sought beneath the moon and the water's edge, the sister and witch. The language is willful, naughty, poetic. It will take some untangling. The first volume of the Geminiad reminds us that the sister and witch has been known to manifest as the witch and sister, and that this face is always hungry while the other face may heal. It implies connections between the Cisteran Witch and the hours of the Upper Mansis, especially the lunar hour called the Meniscate, but it is ambiguous on whether the Cisteran Witch is a Mansis hour proper, and it speaks at length about the sadness of the two who are one, the sadness that remains from their time as flesh. And what does not bark? Alexander Props writes warily of Calyptra, a law, principle, or society which prevents the dissemination of dangerous knowledge. Calyptra, like the planet that occludes the star or the Doylean dog that fails to bark, can be identified only by its absence. Even the name, I think, must be a mask. Calyptra is said to make exceptions specifically for the libraries of the Watchman's Tree. Does it make those exceptions so the hours can make use of them? So in 1.2 seconds, we will move up herbs and infusions. The scale is now level 5. Its power aspects have also increased. I'm no expert, but I'm no dabbler either. Okay, Deoris Book 2 in Latin, a 19th century reprint by the indefatigable Nathaniel Darcy Evers of a 14th century Latin translation of a 4th century work. This volume deals mostly with the hour called Lionsmith, the hour called the Tribune of Scars, and with their enmity. The Lionsmith makes monsters to defeat the Tribune, but the scars of the Tribune are each a weapon. So that... I believe we were going to go to the Alchemist's Glassware. I need a glass of water as well. This'll do. And then I think it was the bitter black salts I was going to use. Yeah, there we go. Energize this liquid into a ruddy essence of forge power. Anbarian Lapidary with scholar level forge plus liquid creates iotic essence. And I'm willing to make a guess here that with a little more power, Anbarian Lapidary might be the thing that can get me Orpiment Exultant. In fact, I could have tested that because the water does not provide any forge. So, shame on me, but... there we have it. Now, it is worth saying, just, reflecting on my current position right here, I've got 1 minute before sundown. I have Inks of Revelation and Edicts Liminal, and I've got 3 memories here. I've also got 3 elements of the soul. So under certain circumstances, right, if I'd wanted to give up on using the, let's say I didn't want to make the iotic essence, for example, there's kind of an argument that I could have tried to maybe level something else up. I still think this is the right call, but I do want to think a bit about how I would like to use my remaining steps. So the intuition is something we can take overnight, so I've got a memory for tomorrow, even if it's not necessarily something that I... Oh, actually... I think I might have closed the door on this possibility, but I was thinking if I've got 90 seconds to kill, I could actually take this Wormwood Dream. I'm going to take a peek, but I don't think I can pull it off here. So this won't do... Yeah, it's the Witch Worms. I think the problem with the infestation is it doesn't actually have a... I'm pretty sure I don't have a winter. Which is fine, but I don't have a winter tool, and I don't have a whist. I say I don't have a winter tool, but... Yeah, so I'll confess, I would have preferred not to give up a Peribiot like this, but I can live with it. So we'll quell the witchworm contamination. And we have enough time in the day that I can now go to the Nocturnary. And I can use Edict's Marshal. And I just need one moon. So technically what I can do here, I could actually try and, you know, if we've got sand, for instance, doesn't let me use the sand. Although I wonder, so... The only catch with this one is I don't think it'll... Yeah, I don't think there's a way I can fit the Tristan here. I don't need to get clever about it. So yeah, we'll take the Nocturnary, we will add the Intuition, we'll add the Edict's Marshal. So that lets me make a Wormwood Dream. We'll still have time. So the remaining question is, do I want to try make some money at the Sweet Bones? Or do I want to try something else? Weaving and not working is a way that I can get Peribiot, but I don't have something with heart to push me over the edge with it. So I think I'm going to use the Shaft of the Sweet Bones, and then I'll let Denzel hopefully get me a memory that I want to take overnight. Still, all told, not a bad day's work. We're down a cursed book, and we still have all of the toys to play with. But that does put me... it doesn't put a lot of pressure, but it does put a little pressure on me to make the most of the next day. Which, again, may be curse-oriented. We'll see. Actually, yeah, I think at the very least we can maybe kill the Keeper Skin. Okay, so we can keep the Foresight overnight. Night has fallen, dawn will come soon. So that might be helpful in making more Iotic Essence, or possibly seeing if I can make an Orpiment Exultant now that Anburian Lapidary has improved. Horrible little things. I could be glad that their screams are almost inaudible. The witchworm infestation has been removed. So that is actually Sacralamea, which we've got at the level that we want. So we should consider that kind of a free book. This technically shouldn't be here because White Book of Brittany is 10, but it feels wrong to divide the books like that. So, as I used to say in my youth, the day is done and so am I, but I've earned my pay. I do still feel a little weird using the elements of the soul to earn money at the Sweet Bones the way that I am. There are, in my opinion, just better things I can be doing with the... there are usually better things that I can be doing with the time, but I am also sometimes conscious about the amount of time that I have. So, for instance, if I were to take a 90-second thing... Well, actually, if I did anything right now... you know, it would give... I'd have to give up an element of the soul overnight. So, in general, though, I'd like to be a little more... I'd like to be a little more active in terms of the different... something... Right. More desiccated witchworms. We're running out of space for stuff. But yeah, I don't know, like, getting some money isn't terrible. It does give me options for later on in the day. So it's a fairly easy one to do on a reflex, but it is something that I sometimes just want to, like, one of the reasons why I comment on it is that I think it's useful to just vocalize there might have been something else that I could have done. And that's one of the ways that I just kind of, I don't know, it feels useful to try and avoid thinking of the game as like a business sim. Although, just for the record, if Weather Factory made a 6th History business sim, I'd be like customer -1. All right, let's hope it's equally possible to forget this again. If there are laws which apply only in Dream, then it must also be that there are crimes which can only be committed there. And with Keeper Level Forge, Iotic Essence is the precursor to the great ink called Orpiment Exultant. With Keeper Level Lantern, it can become Xanthotic Essence instead. So the hope here is I have enough space to put this. Of course I don't. Let's, once more with feeling. All right, one more try. I think this is probably just because I don't have the shelf space, but yeah. Okay, so I'm definitely feeling like we are close, if not definitely at the point where we can make Orpiment Exultant. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Anburian Lapidary that enables it, but we will find... Oh, we've got it right now, actually. So, probably better for me to experiment at the Alchemist Glassware. So if we take that, the metal, Iotic Essence, Bitter Black Salts. So Bells and Braziers doesn't help me out there. Anburian Lapidary, yes. Cool. I am actually slightly tempted to just go for it right now. Slight modification, though. Transform the essence into the Incastum Terminale Orpiment Exultant. So, I don't know what the weather is yet. So that may have some bearing. But if I look at my notes, so for the Keeper Skin, the idea would have been... So we'll say this at Nona's desk. So I would have taken herbs and infusions. I would have taken my health. I would take the bronze knife. Yeah, okay. So I think a clear move for me to make here would be to get an impulse. And even if we wind up talking with Denzel and he winds up giving me an impulse, this is definitely one that I want to get now. So that'll allow me to clear out those who do not sleep. And the thing that's nice about that is just, it keeps it so that the Fifth Eye Curse is the last thing that we need to worry about. Now... I do also want to set myself up for sort of the next phase. So I guess the first thing I'd say would be... So technically I can actually use Inks of Revelation on solutions and separations. Yeah, this is actually where this gets a little funny. Because I also have solutions and separations here with the debate of 7 cups. So one of these has got to be 4 and one of these has got to be 5. We technically don't have a Serpents and Venoms, but we do have a few candidate books that would fill that gap. So I guess the question I'm asking here is it all that useful for me to blow the Inks of Revelation, which I could theoretically be using for something else, when I know that one of the other books that I'll be reading will help me get solutions and separations to where it needs to be? So what I'll say, let's just say that we're going to sit on Inks of Revelation for now, and what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go to Natan's desk, I'm going to use Sacrolamea, and I'm going to take the Debate of Seven Cups and turn that into something that I actually level up solutions and separations with. So I can master this mystery, enough moth to match mystery moth. So the funny thing is actually the bottom of my skill list is the one that's been handled, but I'm okay with that. I also want to make some replacement peribiot, so we'll take core, we'll take weaving and not working. Nope, didn't even need any more. Okay. So if I want to try and level up Edict's Liminal, we need 5 knock and moth. So the first thing that I can say is salt. I'm just going to do my usual routine here, which is to go sort of top to bottom through the shells. I think that's the best way for me just to avoid any embarrassing mistakes. So our good friend Impulse. Gossip doesn't help, revelations don't help, intuitions don't help, hindsight doesn't help, regrets don't help, confounding parables don't help, but patterns do. So that's 3. Fears don't help, contradictions don't help, storms don't help, satisfaction doesn't help, solace doesn't help, beguiling melodies doesn't help, but stolen secrets do. And glimmerings doesn't, or sorry, bittersweet certainty doesn't help. So, as anticipated, it's the name day riddle. That's the decisive factor, which is fine. We will need to generate some memories. So at this point, it's pretty clear that bringing Denzel in is the right call. I am going to still use my health for this, although I probably want to do some gardening and such as well. Fixing and mending. There's not much work on offer in Brandkrug, but I can find 6 pence worth of odd jobs. And if I get into a position where the nice to haves of the list are handled, I may try to level up Denzel to a point that he opens up another room. Again, we've got other priorities right now, so I don't feel too bad about not doing it this way. But I do kind of want to be conscious of the fact that I have options that I'm sort of sitting on at the moment. So the funny thing is I should also try and read Unhatched Hymns. I can still get by with giving up a Faust here. So we'll use that for Crossing to Noon. And I think I may have cut myself out of lantern activity right now. Nope, Ambrose's desk lets me do lantern. So this is more of just a kind of testing the water to see what I can do, because I know Sabazine. So be it. Lantern Revelations. I can master this mystery, enough lantern to match mystery lantern. So this basically... I've got all my work cut out for me for today. But I don't feel bad about that. The only thing I forget is, okay, so we're getting our impulse from the beekeeper's ends. So we'll need another one after we try to clear out the keeper skin. That's fine though. So I think we've queued up what we want. I don't have that much time. I mean, we should probably be wrapping up right now, but I do kind of want to see where the what the weather is. Okay, so sunny day. Doesn't really help me in terms of opening up rooms, but I think we can still make things happen. I thought I did Cater and Hero before TRN, but Denzel rarely works for free, but he won't take payment for helping a friend. Now, one thing I will just note, if I want to level up Sacrosalis Invicta, I can actually use the Sunny Day for that. An alternative that I can do is I can actually make the Name Day riddle right now using the Sunny Day. I'm not going to do that just because we don't have... Like, it's not a last-minute thing that I need to worry about in terms of generating the Name Day riddle. It only takes me 90 seconds, so I'm just going to take any old memory and make that work. But if I didn't have a more direct use for the Sunny Day, so for instance something like Edict's Sacrosalis Invicti, I may consider differently. I do tend to find that if I get weather that's pretty commonplace, I just wind up using it to make something like a Wormwood Dream or a Name Day riddle. Probably Name Day riddle more than anything. But I don't think that's necessary here. So I definitely have, so there's a lot that I need to get through for myself. I obviously need to, I need to have a think about how I'm going to, navigate all these different books that I'm reading in future. I suppose one thing that's nice is that at the start of this week, I sort of worked out a to-read list in terms of advancing my interests in the Tree of Wisdoms. And we're back to the same book in on the shelf, Queens of the Rivers. And this is really just because I haven't figured out yet what I want to do with Path and Pilgrim, and it feels wrong to just push that ahead when I may have other plans for it. But all the extra ones that were about sort of navigating the tree and trying to get to some extra places are done. We've got some surplus memories, which I will be working with, so another level to Edict's Liminal at least. More importantly, we did unlock a reliable way of getting stolen secrets. I like that because, it is somewhat rare to get that from an assistant, so being able to do that is, it basically makes sure that I have the ability to sort of raise the floor of the various skills that I want to commit. It's like Stone Stories, right? It's all well and good for me to say that I want to level that even higher because I guess the nectar isn't that important now, but the scale maybe. But if I don't actually have a way of delivering that, for instance, right now I'm really feeling the lack of something that'll generate an earth sign. It might as well just not exist. I suppose the one thing that's a nice consolation is that I could technically use a Savage Hymn, which I'm now going to be able to get out of a book. I've been able to generate it through Drums and Dances anyway, but that's a little bit of a consolation. But in general, just having that extra knock and having that extra moon just means that I can push out a little bit further in terms of some of these ones where I was constrained more by my ability to get memories rather than my ability to get lessons. So I think what'll happen for next week, as you can see, we've kind of started to take the curses a little more seriously, and not coincidentally, that's related to the fact that we're getting some shelf space cleared up. So I think it'd be fair to say that we'll only have the Fifth Eye Curse to deal with in the coming week. I'm not in a rush to deal with that, incidentally. So, if I get a storm and I decide that it would be better to try and move through a room, I'm totally fine prioritizing that. When it comes to these two books with the Fifth Eye Curse, they're both... Well, actually, the lion at and the glass is probably the easier of the two for me to handle. So that one, I think there's a small argument that maybe I should be reading that one at this point. But yeah, they're not ones that are sort of make or break, is what I mean to say. I also actually should note we've got Lockworks and Clockworks, and this one we've actually already read. Shame on me for not doing a label. I think it's a revelation in that case. But yeah, I keep forgetting some of the spares in terms of just the material that I can get. Also, it's occurred to me that I've been spending all these times looking at paintings, but I should maybe start looking at some of the busts. I don't remember if they give you a touch or a sight. I think they give you a sight, but that would help me in terms of placing some of these other ones. I remember who's who, but I don't know. Like, I've been trying to do things as they emerge inside the game, so I could unlock. I think I actually only have one, technically two, secrets of the house that I can unlock. But I prefer it if I can to not have those be, I just magically knew how to do this, like it's the Stanley Parable or something. It'd be kind of nice if I could justify the choice through the game. Although I obviously tripped up on one of them. Anyways, sorry, I'm babbling a little bit. So next week's plan, we'll clear out the curses that we can, or other afflictions and various malady generators. I'm going to try and digest the lessons that I have, but I can actually see some sense in keeping Inks of Revelation as a little bit of a free agent. One thing I will start doing, so I think something that would be a good idea would be for me to, right now I have sort of a difficulty range. What I think might be a better idea for me to do is to go through these and take a look at the ones that I've committed. So for instance, of course, I'm not getting any good examples here. Yeah, so the Serenity of the Black Wood, right? So that's going to be a couple of Sacralamea lessons I can work with. That's something that'll give me Moth and Sky. And clearly I have skills with both Moth and Sky that could be improved with those. So that's going to involve a little bit of a kind of a think in terms of where I want certain skills to go. But, I think the next batch of things that I put on my to read list will be things like Serenity of the Black Wood. I think all of the books of Brittany, White Book of Brittany, Red Book of Brittany, Black Book of Brittany, are all candidates to be read for surplus memories. Chandler's Wish. I think History of Inks is too much for me because of my my lack of rows. Maybe that's something for me to reflect on and decide if I'd like to pursue that. The other thing that's kind of nice is when I clear those out and I put them on the to read list, that's going to allow me to do a bit more of the book migration. Again, this is an obvious candidate for reading. I just need to find the way of getting the extra nectar. And I really do need to figure out what I'm doing with Tridesma Hira, because it's technically quite low, but I have so many different books that I can read to level that up. So I really just need to get to the point of deciding, where does this go in the overall scheme of things, and what, when do I want to start applying it to leveling up other skills, particularly Tridesma Hira, simply because that'll help me with Serpents and Venoms if I decide that I don't want to use it for other things. But like I said, all of that is for the future, and I'm sorry to take 10 minutes talking about stuff that I could have been implementing in the game. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you Monday for more House of Light. Until then, take care.